A very good morning to everyone watching this live webinar today. I think it's very innovative of all of us to start these new concepts that have come. And I just hope everyone is safe at home and enjoying their time quarantined. Thank you everyone for your interest in today's webinar, and I hope you learned something useful from this today and I put forth good knowledge across. Okay, so I'll start with briefing about myself. I'm Dr. Anuj Faki. I'm the head physio at ISST. I also have my own rehabilitation studio in Pune, that is in Aund. It's called Physio Studio. And we primarily deal with orthopedic injuries and sports injuries. So that is the reason we thought of making this webinar all about rehabilitating sports injuries and rehabilitating fitness injuries. Well, again, hit the thumbs up when you join the video, so I have an idea what type of population I am dealing with. Also, one important thing is, if you feel that someone who can relate to the content that I'm talking about and someone who needs to be watching this video, please tag them along or share it. Also, we have a mixed population. We have physiotherapy students, we have orthopedic surgeons, and we have some of my patients logging in. We have master's students, so wow, great. Let me begin by saying that let this be very interactive, wherein you ask me questions and I answer them. So I thought of, instead of putting too much content in the session, I will tell you all more noteworthy and important points which you need to know in terms of rehabilitating and managing these injuries. So, well, let me start with what sports medicine is. So, sports medicine is not really a one-man show. One person alone cannot rehabilitate an athlete or rehabilitate a sports person or someone who is into fitness. So, sports medicine involves various disciplinaries that work together. So earlier the concept of sports medicine was that, say, a player has injured himself. So what usually used to happen is he used to go to his coach, or there used to be just one primary physician taking care. But right now there's like a paradigm shift in the way we rehabilitate our patients. So when I say that I rehabilitate a sports person or a sportsman or an athlete or a fitness enthusiast, there is an entire team which is backing me up. So the team has an orthopedic surgeon, the team has a sports medicine physician, the team has a sports physiotherapist, then we have a sports counselor, a sports nutritionist, we have, yes, the most important person, the coach, then of course the athlete, then we have a sleep therapist, we have a podiatrist. So the numbers are just increasing and the number of teammates depending on the specialties is added. So when I rehabilitate a patient, it is all of us working together to give you the best result in your patient or in the sports person. And when I say rehabilitation, it does not only mean that the person has got an injury and then only likewise I'm treating him or I'm giving him a referral. So what we usually do is, first thing is we try to prevent those injuries. What we do is we try to give you a more sports specific program. So a sports specific program is, say, if somebody is a footballer versus somebody who plays basketball, or somebody who's doing taekwondo, or somebody who's doing kabaddi. The rehabilitation and the type of training that we are going to give people is going to be different depending on what sports they play. For example, I give you a football player. So it's not that all the football players undergo a same level of training. So if I am a defender, or if I am a goalkeeper, or if I play forwards, my outlook towards that patient is going to be really different. It is going to change. So if he's playing more of forward, so I'll train him mainly in terms of kicking activities, and somebody who's doing more of goalkeeping, he'll need more of balancing activities, more challenging activities, wherein he has to really defend and defend the goalpost. So you see that everything has to be very specific. And when we say rehabilitation, the entire team plays a very important role, right from the sports medicine physician who's going to be checking the patient overall about his entire build and the various systems that are involved in sports, his cardiovascular system, his nervous system, his musculoskeletal system, his metabolic system. So all of these things need to be taken care of. Okay, hello everyone again, the new people who've joined in. Yeah. So now another thing is these days, because of quarantine, I'm getting, last week I got 2-3 calls wherein they said that we're getting some shoulder pain or we're getting some back pain, and most of them were athletes. So when I asked them that what did you actually do, so they said, oh, we tried the 150 squat challenge and we tried the 55 push-ups challenge. So the point that I'm trying to put forth is never do an unusual activity which you're not accustomed to do, because that is when your injuries are going to actually take place. When you try to do something which you've not done before, and when you try to do it excessively, that is when you strike an injury. And sometimes the injuries really go terrible. So what I'm trying to say is that never ever overdo anything. So you see these sports people, whenever the tournament is coming closer, they start training a little bit more, a little bit harder. Even the coach puts in a lot of effort for these people. But what I feel is, whenever you have a tournament and you know, say it's in December, so don't start training right from November or October. You have to really start your practice way in advance, say about 6 months to over a year before, because all these tournaments, all these competitive sports are really fixed and they give you a proper frame where you have to train. So again, your injuries can happen when you start overtraining and when you overdo certain activities without a good recovery period. So now what I'm trying to say is that whenever it is, of course, obvious that people train a little bit more in their competitive days, but it is equally important that the patient gets a very good recovery. So if, say, you're training 4 hours a day, you need to have some recovery, right? And you tend to overload your systems, you tend to overload your musculoskeletal system, that is your muscles, your joints, your ligaments. You're overstraining them, so you need to give them some time to recover. And of course, recovery is also a very neglected part, I must say, in sports rehabilitation, which I think only the elite athletes follow. But what I feel is, even fitness enthusiasts, even physiotherapists dealing with normal patients, normal orthopedic patients and others, you really need to give them a good recovery period. They cannot be working 6 days a week for 7 to 8 hours, nothing like that. So you need to really give them a good recovery period. Recovery could be either simple rest, or you have pneumatic devices which have recently come in. So you can use, there can be use of pneumatic devices. You can use electrical stimulation. You can use techniques like dry needling. You can use cupping, what people are usually using, or you can simply give them an ice bath. There are provisions for ice bath or aquatic therapy for relaxation. So there are a couple of things, like I can jot down a lot of recover. The simplest way is to rest at home with an ice pack if you don't have the other things available with you. So you can go in for all those things. Now, so the first thing is, of course, whenever you tend to overtrain, you always have a good recovery. Second thing is injury prevention. Now, injury prevention is really very important, because if you don't prevent the injury, sometimes the injuries can be so serious that you may end up in a surgery, or you may not be able to play a game. So what happens is, I'll give you an example. A footballer goes on the field and he tends to twist his knee, and then he feels a little okay. He thinks that, okay, I can still play. So probably he just got a strain, but because he thought that I can still go back to the game and play, and in another shot he might just injure the ligament even more. So the thing is that certain movements and certain strains can make you more vulnerable to injuries and can even give you a tear. The most commonly seen tears in the knee is your ACL, anterior cruciate ligament tear, that we see commonly in our setup. So one thing is that you need to really prevent your injuries. Second thing is you need to have a good recovery. Now the third point that I want to put forth is for all the trainers, for all the strength and conditioning coaches, for all the other coaches and the sports physiotherapist is give your patients a good technique to follow their sport. So there's a person who's playing tennis will have a different way he plays, or it also depends on the dominance. If he's a right hand dominant or a left hand dominant, the way he strikes, the way he's holding the racket. So everything is very important. So if you need to have a correct technique, first thing is you need to have expert guidance. So that guidance is best given by your coach. Then the second thing is you need to practice a lot. So after you get a good guidance, you just cannot be an expert at it. You need to really, really practice it. Practice it till you almost get it to perfection. And the third thing is that you need a physiotherapist or a strength and conditioning coach to guide you throughout and give you the required muscle strength and flexibility to carry out the movement. So you see that in one example how everyone works in together. Also, while we train athletes, we see that what kind of a sport it is. If it is a strength, a sport which involves a lot of strength, if it is a sport which involves a lot of endurance, where there's a lot of running around, you need uh, different energy systems to work, or if it's a flexibility sport where you need to do a lot of stretches and you need to really take your joints in and muscles in extreme ranges. So when you train, you need to keep in mind all these components. So you cannot really just do one form of exercise. You need to do your strength training, you need to do your endurance training, then you need to do your power building. You need to work on your diet, your build, your nutrition, as well as there are other components wherein the physicians, they monitor your blood test and then they recommend certain supplements or something that you require for the particular event. Now, let me brief you about the different techniques that we usually use for rehabilitation. So most commonly you see these sports people having these fancy bright colored tapes on their shoulders or their knees or their wrist. So those are kinesiology tapes, and some of them are even rigid tapes. So the different techniques that we use are, one most commonly used is the taping technique, because if the athlete is playing, supposing he injures himself and you feel that it's a minor strain and he can go back to his activity by just putting a tape or a brace, so then he can go ahead with it. So there are other techniques that we use, that is hands-on techniques. So hands-on technique is more like that is a manipulation technique or a joint mobilization technique or different types of stretches that we incorporate in their training program. So that is one thing, that is joint mobilization. Second thing we do is the taping techniques, like I just told you. Also taping is also very variable. There can be a rigid taping, there can be kinesio taping. Rigid taping is done when you really want to immobilize a part. You don't want it to move much, because you know that when it moves, there can be more of an effusion or a joint swelling, or it can re-rupture or something like that. So only to give it some rest, you put a rigid tape. A kinesio tape is more like if you want to facilitate a movement or inhibit a movement pattern or certain muscles, then we use a kinesiology tape. And there are other taping techniques like Mulligan taping, dynamic taping that we use. The other things are dry needling. So dry needling is also given to release certain trigger points in your muscles, to relax your muscles. It is also used to promote healing in certain conditions. But again, these techniques have to be done by a registered physiotherapist only. Other things that we do in sports is a sports specific training. So sports specific training could be the exercises and the different techniques that you need to do for a particular sport. So that is sports specific training. So really give him too much of upper body. I'll focus mainly on the core and lower body. Of course, to balance everything out, we need to do some upper body exercises as well, but you need to train as a whole, but literally being specific specific to those muscle groups. You need more quadriceps, you need more glutes, you need more core, you need more rotators. So you have to be more specific to that. Now, the other thing apart from this is the braces. So we have a lot of braces that we use for sports. We have the offloading braces, then we have some functional braces. So it all depends on your condition, and certain things are recommended for you. The other treatment techniques that we use are aquatic therapy. So the pool workout basically. So you may be seeing a lot of athletes training in the pool, because the pool kind of offloads your body. It gives you a good environment to exercise. And of course, there's some change from the normal floor workout. And you have some aquatic weights. You can do some aqua aerobics. There are different components to aqua therapy alone. Then we have the virtual reality training. So virtual reality is basically you simulate the experience that the person gets on field. You simulate it off field. So you have immersive training, you have non-immersive training, and or you can just, for people who want to know what we usually use, is you can use the VFit for virtual reality, or there are other things called as XR gaming. So XR gaming is nothing but exercise you combine with games. So that is again more sports specific. So you can use different games. There are a lot of games available on the Xbox and the PlayStation. So you can use those particular games to get those movement patterns in your patients. They'll also help you gain a lot of proprioception and balancing ability, which is required in these sports. Now, so we've come to hands-on techniques. We've covered kinesiotaping, we've covered bracing, we've covered dry needling, we've covered aquatic therapy, virtual reality, XR gaming. Then the last thing is there are some high performance equipments like force platforms or force decks. So that those monitors the amount of force that you put in during certain movements, and if you're putting equal pressure on both the sides, or if you're trying to guard one part more after a surgery. So these are different varieties that are available for sports rehabilitation. And of course, we use all of this depending on what condition you have and what stage of rehabilitation you are in. Also, next thing I want to say is we are going to start a new course. It is already online. It's basically a distance diploma in sports and fitness injury rehabilitation. And you can go and check this course out and the brochure on our website at ISST. So I'll just brief you why we thought of starting this course. Is that as we know that the sports and fitness industry is really booming, and with a lot of active participation of people into this industry, likewise the number of injuries is also going to increase, right? So the person sometimes, like in some levels of our rehabilitation, some people may not have everyone, like the entire team. So at least they have a background of what they would be treating. So we thought that we could put this, formulate and put this course forth. So it's basically a 6-month diploma course, and it's a distance program. So what we're going to do is we'll teach you different injury prevention techniques. We'll teach you management and rehabilitation of most common injuries. Then you have some upper limb injuries, you have lower limb injuries, you have spine injuries. So we'll try to cover all these topics. We'll try to cover exercise physiology in it, and some advanced sports rehabilitation. So any person, a doctor or a coach or an athlete or someone who's working with a sports setup can do this diploma course. So you have an idea and you get a gist of what exactly people do in rehabilitation and why they do it. So you learn injury prevention, you learn management, and again you will be learning rehabilitation of sports and fitness injuries. So you can just find out about this course. It's the distance diploma in sports and fitness injury management on the ISST website. So we have a lot of people coming in, people doing bachelor. I'll be coming back to your question soon. So one important thing that I want to put forth now is that everybody is aware of. So when it comes to like injury prevention, people are like, okay, we'll do the RICE protocol. That is rest, ice, compression, elevation. So yeah, of course, RICE is important. In fact, it is gold standards to follow an injury program. So along with RICE, I also insist that you guys follow another form of RICE, that is recovery, that is R for recovery, I is for injury prevention, C is for correction of technique, and E is for expert advice. So expert advice is your physiotherapist, your orthopedic surgeon, your SNC coach, or your normal coach. So if you've undergone a shoulder injury and you're still playing, so you may even worsen it. Sometimes people feel that, okay, I've got an injury, it feels like a strain, I'll hit more, I'll play more, so probably it releases. But however, that is not true. That may not always be true. You might be injuring yourself even more. So at this time, it is of utmost importance that you actually consult a concerned person, that is a surgeon or a physiotherapist or a sports medicine doctor, to diagnose what you actually have, and then they will formulate your program, that whether you really need to be in the game again or you need to take some time out, recover from this and then get back. Because sometimes if you still continue to play, then you might miss a season if you have to undergo surgery. So that is very important, that in that movement you really need to pick the other point really fast, that okay, I think I need to slow down now, probably a tape will help me, I need to go see my physio, or if I feel I need some medication, I need to see my sports medicine physician. So let's see some questions now. So I hope everybody has understood my RICE protocol and the other RICE, that is recovery, injury prevention, correction of technique, and expert advice. So I'll take some questions now. Mr. Suraj is asking me a question: how to treat previous knee injuries which is causing problem after many years of injury, small accidents. So yeah, this is a very common problem of chronic injuries. So what you really need to do, Suraj, is you need to consult a physiotherapist or an orthopedic doctor who will diagnose the cause of your pain. Because just blindly giving you a program and saying do taping and bracing won't really help. We need to really find out the cause of that problem, and we'll see the best possible way to fix it up. Sanjana is asking me what is sports rehabilitation. So like I said that sports rehabilitation is not a one-man show. You have different disciplinaries, different experts working together, like a sports medicine physician, a physiotherapist, an orthopedic doctor, a strength and conditioning coach, a sports psychologist, a sleep therapist, a podiatrist, and all of these people working together to rehabilitate the patient. And yeah, if you're talking more in terms of physiotherapy, then those techniques that I have briefed you on, like taping techniques, bracing techniques, then different manipulations, mobilizations, sports specific training. So you can use all of that under the word sports rehabilitation. We have seen that recovery, Priyanka is saying, we have seen that recovery is a challenge while training an athlete. What is your take on recovery? So Priyanka, I personally feel that before you start recovery for a patient or a sports person, you really need to sort of counsel them as to why you need recovery. Only when they know the why, then only they are going to follow your recovery. Otherwise, some people are of the attitude that, oh no, I can still train, I can overtrain, I can do much more. So you need to really tell them that recovery is very important. It is, in fact, recovery and sleep are as important as training. So if you see all elite athletes, they actually have a proper sleep therapist and a counselor. So yes, that recovery is very, very important, and you need to counsel your patients for it. So any takes in secondary ACL injuries and preventive measures. So yes, whenever you have an ACL injury, usually there is a chance of re-injury on the opposite leg more than the same leg, because the patient tries to guard that leg while playing a bit more. So what I feel is whenever you are doing the phase 3 rehabilitation of patients after ACL, injury prevention strategy. So what I personally do is I use the FIFA 11 plus injury prevention program for them. So yes, you can use the FIFA 11 plus program for your patients. Also, you have the sports metrics program, so you can go on to YouTube and find out different ways of sports metrics and FIFA 11, and then for injury prevention, you can start using them in your athletes. So another question, how important is hip mobility exercise for you post a knee surgery or for just a runner? So whenever you consider any joint for that matter, now that we're discussing the knee, flexibility at your knee, your hip and your ankle is equally important. So it's not that you have a full range of motion at the knee and some limited range of motion at the hip. That is not going to work. You need to have equal mobility in all your joints when you do a sport. And yes, for a runner, definitely it is important because you have certain muscles like the IT band, which comes all the way from the hip and it crosses at your knee joint. And you may get the runner's knee because of friction in the ITB or tightness in the ITB. So yes, you need to have good hip mobility for any knee condition. So what specific tests that we use for return to sport? So if you see the recent ACL consensus, then they have different tests. You can use the vertical jump, you can use the single leg hop test. So there are different tests, there are different the box jump. So you need to find out more and you can see which one is more specific. So Mr. Amol is asking me, what will be your protocol for revision total knee replacement patients? So again, because it is a revision surgery, I have to be a little more careful and I need to know the cause of the revision surgery, if it is an infection or is it an implant failure. But I'll make sure that the patient has done some amount of prehab and then the rehab becomes easier. Of course, it will be a little bit slower than what I usually do is, but I'll be working within the guidelines of the surgeon. Ma'am, after studying sports sciences, what can be the way forward for a career in sports rehabilitation? Okay, so this is a tricky question. Again, it's a personal choice, whatever you feel. But I think it's a great choice that if you, after doing sports sciences, if you want to do a career in sports rehabilitation, then yes, please go ahead with it. And what can be the way forward? So you can visit our website. We have different courses related to sports. So you can just find out what really fits into your interest and then we can go ahead. But definitely it's a good way. When is surgery required and what is the recovery time? So surgery, this is a very vague question, but surgery is required when all your conservative management techniques have failed to give a result to a patient. That is when you need to go in for a surgery. And recovery time honestly depends from patient to patient. Now say if you have an ACL injury, the recovery is somewhere between 6 months to a year or a year and a half. It all depends on the pre-existing condition of the patient and whether or not another structure is involved. So if you have an ACL ligament injury and if he has a meniscus tear, my rehabilitation is going to be slightly different. If he has an ACL with a PLC or a PCL tear or a multi-ligament injury, it is going to be different. How can one take precaution against injury? So the precaution is basically prevention. Like I said, that have good recovery, incorporate injury prevention strategies. So to know more about injury prevention strategies, we will be covering that in our distance diploma course as well. Or you can go to a trained physiotherapist or a sports therapist. And signs of an injury are that you may get pain there, you might feel some signs of inflammation, some warmth, some swelling. Sometimes you may just get pain in certain activities. So these are small signs of injury. Or say if you were able to run for 1 mile without any pain, but now in half a mile you're getting pain. So yeah, you have injured something somewhere. So what is your take on conservative management after a complete ACL injury? There are researchers which say complete ACL tear can be managed conservatively. Have you come across? Yes, Priyanka, we see a lot of patients who are not willing to go in for a surgery. So the safest option that you can offer them is, if you want to manage your injury without a surgery, then you may not be able to play a sport. Because if I have a complete ACL tear and I have instability in my knee and I go and play, although I have a good muscle strength or a good muscle bulk, I have good flexibility, but if I have instability because of my ligament, then yes, I will not allow my patient to play a particular sport because he might re-injure himself in a bad way. My son is 11-year-old and he has tendon swell and pain in left knee. He plays football. We have already consulted an orthopedic surgeon and physio and doing medications, device things. So I really need to check your son, sir, before I comment on this. But usually with some taping and bracing techniques and probably some anti-inflammatory medication, his swelling and pain should come down. And later on, he should move on to an exercise program, so he gets 100% relief. So what I would recommend is please follow the dual rise plus rise protocol. Again, it is rest, ice, compression, elevation, and recovery, injury prevention, correction of technique, and expert advice. And yeah, please go through our diploma courses on the ISST website. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really like the questions that the audience have put forth. And if there's anything else, please comment. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. Yeah, have a good day.